Right now, 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 right now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. Well, what's happening? It's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto. Guys, today we have a wonderful show lined up because, as you almost certainly know, Bitcoin just had a massive break to the upside yesterday and is currently trading at $20,657 and change. And it's even moving right now as we are speaking. It is sitting at $20,673.17, moving to the upside even just over the last hour. And a lot of people have been wondering, Jebb, I thought Bitcoin was likely to trade sideways or have a drop. You know, a lot of the analysts in the cryptocurrency space have talked about how there needs to be one last flush out. So what gives? Why isn't Bitcoin dropping? Well, today I'm going to give you some of my theories as to why, but one of those theories, in fact, has 500 million reasons, and is none other than the cryptocurrency exchange that's already been under a lot of heat, including its CEO, FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX have been under a lot of fire recently for what Sam Bankman-Fried released insofar as basically a list of different regulations that the cryptocurrency industry could self-impose upon itself to help get a lot of the nonsense, if you will, that goes on in cryptocurrency back under control, including things like returning funds after hacks, including things like DeFi, including things like scams. A lot of things that Sam Bankman-Fried went over in that very controversial post that went up on FTX's website. So FTX already had the limelight, and today we're going to talk about how $500 million got liquidated on that exchange, one of, if not the largest liquidation events in the history of FTX, and it massively outrun every single other cryptocurrency exchange by liquidation volume. Could there be some fishy, stinky, smelly business going on here with the way that cryptocurrency exchange just had so many shorts liquidated? We're going to talk about that and more in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live. If you do enjoy today's show, make sure to smash that like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so that you'll be kept up to date with all future shows. Just to get a friendly reminder, here in the next couple of weeks, we are going to be having an interview with none other than the man, the myth, the legend himself, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, interviewing him next week. In fact, a week from today. And really cool story I want to bring you guys from our sales manager, Greg. Greg just so happened to be at a restaurant last night, and he was there just briefly. He thought he was going to eat there, and then he wasn't able to. He was going to be there with his fiance, but his fiance wasn't feeling well, so he ended up just going in for just a second and coming back, and he saw none other than Cathie Wood sitting there. And so, being the sales manager of this channel and the person in charge of coordinating sales and sponsorships and also, obviously, interviews, he walked up to her and had a wonderful conversation with her. She's a believer. He's a believer. They had a great conversation. And so now our team is in contact with Cathie Wood, and we are hoping, anyway, that we will be able to get an interview set up. Really excited about that. Have a lot of respect for Cathie Wood, her being a Christian, the story behind ARK Invest, its name, how it got started, really cool stuff, and been wanting to get an interview with her for a long time. So that was some really good news. Really appreciative for Greg. Drop a 1 in chat if you'd love to see an interview with Miss Wood herself. I think that would be wonderful. So hopefully that will go through. I think it will. But guys, we've already got 300 people watching, 60 likes. Make sure to smash that like button if you have not already. Chris Moe was first. He said first. Mitch Shaw said, good morning, everybody. Shout out to you on the green name list, Mitch Shaw. Had a lot of fun yesterday. By the way, for everybody who is in Club DeFi, office hours went live again yesterday from 3 to 4 p.m. on Tuesday, and they will be going up tomorrow as well. Very appreciative for the fact that we were able to do office hours and some of you guys were able to join. That was really awesome. We really enjoyed that. Sarah and I both were on the call, got to answer some of your burning questions, and we basically were on the call right when Bitcoin was launching into the stratosphere. We're going to talk a lot about the technical side of things in today's stream, and then we're going to keep it moving. Crypto Mini Bike, say good morning, everyone. Good morning, Crypto Mini Bike. Crypto Smitty, Justin Eubanks, a lot of names that were in the office hours yesterday in chat today. Adam Rourke in chat. We've also got Mike Lowry again, said, morning, my crypto family, hashtag FinSov. Muhammad Baber, probably Baber. Jebb is a man of God. He will stay blessed, but will be tested. That is, yeah, that's how that goes. I am very blessed, but yeah, there are definitely trials and tribulations and tests going on. Mike Lowry again in chat. Justin Eubanks, Mitch Shaw again. Veronica Gainey's in chat. Let's see. Adam Rourke in chat. Matt C in chat. Shout out to you. Crypto JMP. We got JoJo in the chat. Let's see, who else? I think I may have actually gotten all the green names. Guys, like I said, I am really pumped up and really excited for today's stream. I cannot wait to jump into it. And before we do that, we're going to want to go ahead and jump on over to CoinMarketCap. So give me just a second to get that pulled up, because as you know, Bitcoin went through a massive jump yesterday, currently sitting up 5.69% in the last 24 hours, up 7.58% in the last 7 days, sitting at $20,597 and change. We got Ethereum over here sitting at $1,534, up 11%. Both of these cryptocurrencies, and including the rest of the cryptocurrency market, have been moving exceptionally quickly. We can see Ethereum here has rallied and broken bullish above its descending level of resistance that we had been talking about here for the last couple of weeks. We've got Bitcoin over here that actually broke bullish, and it broke above this downtrending level of resistance right here. And a lot of people are very excited about this breakout, as they should be. But I just want to make sure that we keep our perspective, because if we look on the daily chart, you can barely even see this. Just remember, guys, for a major trend reversal, like from moving from a bear market to a bull market, to actually take effect, and for that market to actually have a confirmed course correction, a confirmed trend reversal, you need to see a lot more than 5 or 10% over the span of a day. So we're going to talk about this movement, but I want you to understand that this is not a confirmation just yet. It is a confirmation that we broke bullish above a powerful downtrend, but I'm going to pour a little bit of water on that fire here in just a little bit. Again, not trying to be a perma-bear. I'm not. I am waiting for confirmation for Bitcoin to go into a bull market. I would love for it to go into a bull market now rather than a year from now, but all of our analysis, I'm talking pretty much all of our analysis, goes back to the fact that Bitcoin should be expecting another drop. I could be wrong. By the way, Eric Brubaker just made a very good point in chat. He said, Jebb, you should read Wrenches too. They're always here to do their jobs amazing. Keep it positive and slashing dating sites. Yeah, for sure. Well, agreed. Thank you very much to Matt C. and Shannon Sharp, our two mods in chat right now. Appreciate you guys for keeping everything clean and orderly and nice in chat. Thank you very much for that. So, by the way, we have a chat here that I haven't been able to confirm, but I will pull it up really quickly. Let's see. Someone said that Canada just cut their interest rate hikes down to 50 basis points. I believe they were doing 75 before. Let me look at that. EFFR. Let's see. Canadian funds rate. Let me see if I can find that real quick. How about that? Yeah, as of yesterday, in fact, we can see that they were a lot more sporadic in the way that they were doing this. They did 0.25, then 0.5, 0.5, 0.1, 0.75, then plus 5. They're already up to the target of 3.75, which we would be expecting for Bitcoin to be at here on November the 2nd. So good. That could potentially be one of the things that helped to move this market. But just remember, that news came out this morning. This is actually coming out like just a little while ago, probably only a couple of hours ago, whereas the actual jump on Bitcoin happened yesterday. So just make sure to keep that in mind. Anyway, let's go ahead and just read an article here, because I want you guys to understand why the market jumped the way that it did. Yesterday, when we were on office hours, I talked to everybody who was there about how this big jump in Bitcoin likely had a whole lot to do with the fact that there was a liquidation of some kind. Now, I hadn't had time at that point to look into it, but of course I looked into it this morning, and yes, that's exactly what happened. There was a large liquidation event of short positions. So just a pretty much a basic rundown for anybody who is newer to cryptocurrency. I'll be kind of brief on this because a lot of you guys already understand this. Whenever you go into a short position, you're basically selling cryptocurrency that you borrowed at a certain price, betting that the price is going to go back down so you can buy in, return the borrowed cryptocurrency to the lender, and then pocket the difference while paying the lender a fee, that lender normally being an exchange. But if you go to the other direction and you go into a short and the market goes up, well, then naturally you're losing money, because to buy back that asset that you just sold that you borrowed, then you have to pay more than you used to sell the asset in the first place, and you end up running into an issue where you're down, you're losing money. And especially if you're on leverage, then eventually you get to something called a liquidation price, where you owe 100% of what you had borrowed, and if you go any farther, then you end up owing more than they lended you, which is a huge problem. And so you end up getting a lot of people triggering stop losses. Either they just cut their losses and they jump out of the trade, and then that provides buying pressure, because again, you start a short position by selling an asset that you borrowed, then you buy to cover that and give the asset back to the lender. And when you do that buying pressure, whether you got liquidated, whether you went through a stop loss, whether you just closed the short position for whatever reason, then that's called a liquidation event. You are liquidating that cryptocurrency trade because you're getting out of it. You're wiping your hands of it, and to get out of that trade, out of a short position, you have to change the buy position. Somebody said I'd change the focal point. Don't think so. I'm pretty sure that the camera's autofocused on me, although it has given me that trouble a little bit. It's tracking rather than facially focused like our other cameras are. Nevertheless, the thing that I want you to understand is that whenever you liquidate a short position, it ends up providing buying pressure equivalent to the amount of money, normally registered in dollars or whatever the currency that the exchange is using. It ends up measuring how much power there is to the upside based on that metric. So that's why this article from CoinDesk is so important. Crypto markets see largest short liquidation in 15 months. Ether leads token surge. Crypto exchange FTX saw some $500 million in liquidations alone, a larger than usual figure. By the way, if you're tuning in for the first time, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because we bring you coffee and crypto 5 days a week at 10 a.m. Eastern, bring you the latest in cryptocurrency, technical, on-chain, and fundamental analysis. But I have this article, this website up over here that I've used for a long time, tracking liquidations, called coinglass.com/liquidation data. And it shows us a line chart of the price action of Bitcoin. And then it also shows us green bars and red bars equivalent to the amount of cryptocurrency that got liquidated, measured in US dollars. We can see over the last several weeks, going back about 5 weeks here to September 21st, there's been virtually no major liquidations. I mean, you can even look back here, going back quite a ways, going back even to July. The largest liquidation event we've seen since July happened September 8th, and I'm talking short liquidations here, happened September 8th, and we saw OKX have $144 million worth of liquidation, and all of the cryptocurrency exchanges combined that are measured here had a combined liquidation event of $305.903 million on the short side. And then you also saw $87 million worth of longs getting liquidated. A lot of times when the market moves to the upside like this, you have a short squeeze, and this is kind of technical, but track with me here because this is valuable information for you. A lot of times when you see a short squeeze happen, you end up seeing the market move to the upside, and it actually ends up triggering what can be considered a liquidation, because people actually hit their take profit and they close their long positions, and they end up walking away with some profit. So that's why normally when you see a big short event, you end up seeing a corresponding much smaller, but a corresponding surge in longs liquidations as well, because people are getting out of those trades, and you end up seeing the same thing on the other side where you see a long squeeze. So just remember, guys, what we saw today was $500 million in liquidation. If you hover over this on coinglass.com/liquidation data, you can see what exchanges all this happened on. We saw $519 million worth of liquidations taking place on FTX yesterday. That starts at 8 a.m. on the day before, because this is using universal time code to measure when the day starts. But you can see a total of $704 million worth of liquidations on the short side, $100 million on the long side because of what I just talked about. Again, today, we've seen still another $86 million worth of longs, shorts getting liquidated, and $250 million of that being on FTX alone. If you look at these different markets, oftentimes what you're going to find is one exchange runs all the others, and a lot of times that's because that's the exchange that it actually started on. For example, here we had a pretty large long squeeze. Vast majority of that long squeeze activity actually took place on OKX. Right over here, for example, You can see we saw $562 million worth of longs liquidated. We saw $294 million worth of that on OKX and $116 million on Binance. So OKX probably started the drop, and then Binance kicked in very quickly thereafter and followed it, and then everything else followed suit and had a slightly lesser impact because there were less trades open on the books over there. What this tells us is that there was a massive amount of shorting activity going over on FTX to the tune of at least, and obviously it's always going to be more than this, at least $750 million worth of shorts just got liquidated on FTX alone in the span of just over 24 hours. So the reason that that is so important is that really shows you just how much power FTX has in this space. People have been talking about Sam Bankman-Fried for a long time. People have been talking about Alameda Research, the 30-person team that is able to move markets if they want to for a long time. People have been talking about FTX and some things going on over there for a very long time. I'm not a person that uses FTX. I don't personally have anything against the exchange. I also am not the most well-informed on Alameda Research and Sam Bankman-Fried and some of the things that have been alleged against them. But I do have concerns that even if the allegations made against those two entities, Sam Bankman-Fried and Alameda Research, are not true, there is a very strong opinion in the cryptocurrency space, it seems to be, that those two guys, and well, that guy and the company that he owns 90% of, are the bad guys. Not saying they are, to be clear. I'm not an expert in that area. But what I will tell you is that when you see a massive jump like this, you end up seeing a lot of people that were in short positions want to point the finger. And you may end up seeing a lot of people want to point the finger straight at SBF. Not saying for a second that they premeditated this or that this was market manipulation, although that is something I will be looking into. However, it is interesting that the vast majority of the shorts that got liquidated took place on FTX. Nevertheless, whether it was a market manipulated movement or not, the cryptocurrency market has now moved to the upside against pretty much all technical analysis, and honestly, against what I would say is most healthy for the space. I think it would be healthy for the space if we saw another drop down 50%, and then if you want to see a 10-15% movement in a day, it's justified because there's so many people that are it's funny, somebody said Greg is a scammer. Greg is not a scammer. He is on staff with our company. But yeah, Greg just said Kathy Wood is sweet and short, lol, but she already communicated that she'll be joining us soon. So yes, thank you very much to Greg for making that connection. Really excited about that. But nevertheless, my point is, whether or not FTX was behind this, whether this was premeditated, I don't know. Not going to put a tinfoil hat on, not going to jump into conspiracy land because I really do. I just don't know. But whether that's the case or not, I don't know if it was the best thing for the cryptocurrency space to jump like this, because if we had have had a flush out, if we had have had a drop down to $9, $10, $11, $12, $13, $14, $15,000, then you would have had all the funds say, okay, well, finally, Bitcoin is so oversold. I can't help but to not buy it. I would be doing a disservice to my team and to my investors and to the people that have given me their assets to manage by not investing in Bitcoin at $15,000. Now, you don't really have that same argument because Bitcoin just jumped up to $20,888. I mean, it's moving fast right now. So I want you to understand, it would be healthy for Bitcoin to go through a bigger drop and drop below $18,000 to $19,000. I think one last flush out would be solid. Although you could make the argument that we're already at bedrock and the bottom's already in and everything that needed to happen has already happened. You can make that argument. I don't know if that's true, but I would understand where you're coming from if you make that argument. What I would say to that is that ultimately I think it would be more healthy if the market did go through a drop, but the thing to keep in mind is that we got to go from where we are. We got to leave the past in the past. We got to analyze it, but we got to realize we can only move forward from where we are right now. And ultimately, Bitcoin is currently moving to the upside in a confirmed pattern. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Thank you so very much for all of that. For all the love that you guys are showing me in the chat. Guys, Bitcoin's sitting at $21,000 almost. It will probably be there relatively soon. This movement, as much as I think it would have been more healthy for us to go through a drop, is very powerful. And I want to make sure I'm not discrediting this. Bitcoin has moved $1,600 in the span of just a day to the upside. We haven't seen that happen very often recently. And as I talked about just yesterday, if Bitcoin were to break this downtrending level of resistance, the next level that it would need to break would be $20,450. And it's now done that. The next level on top of that Bitcoin would need to break would be right here at $22,500. If Bitcoin would be able to make it all the way up there, then it would really be getting into territory of, wow, okay, this market's really starting to confirm something. As far as our technical indicators are concerned, one thing I can show you is the Lux Alko technical indicator here. It has a buy signal coming into play right now, back on Tuesday. That came into play right when this movement started. I mean, I'm talking right when this movement started, even before the liquidation started to take place back over here. Lux Alko called this on the 4-hourly chart. We had talked about this, and I had told you guys, hey, look, yes, Lux Alko has a buy signal. Yes, that's powerful, but I need to see it break this downtrend before I get too much confirmation of a shorter-term movement. Once we broke this, guys, that was kind of off to the races. Lux Alko had a buy signal that was confirmed with Trend Catcher that had actually turned green a while before that, and we had seen the market moved to the upside in a pretty major way. Then what we saw happen was we broke this downtrending level of resistance. This was your place to buy. If you were using Lux Alko, you had an incredible buy setup right here on the hourly chart. And then down here on the 4-hourly chart, you also had a decent setup as well, because right when you started moving to the upside, we saw Trend Catcher turn green right here, and then we took off. Take profit was between $20,000 and $20,800. And there is a healthy place to be skeptical because we've been moving to the downside for like 8 months. So if you didn't take this trade, that may have been wise of you. Not saying that it was, obviously taking the trade would have been profitable, but if all you had to go off of was the information that you had right here, then yeah, maybe taking the trade wasn't the best decision just yet, or maybe not even right there, maybe just a little bit further forward. But ultimately, whatever happened, Lux Alko gave you a great signal here. It really did. It called this movement in such a great way. And if you guys haven't already signed up for Lux Alko, you absolutely should. The link is in the description box down below. Thank you so very much to them for their amazing technical indicator here. But the other thing to keep in mind, guys, is that there is some VPVR support and resistance that we want to look at here that has been built recently. Just look at where the VPVR is strongest. The VPVR is strongest right here between $19,000 and $20,500. And that makes sense because that's where all the trading's taking place. Bitcoin has been bottoming out in this territory over and over and over again. And that's where we kind of were like, I don't really know if I'm too confident in this movement just yet because we've been bottoming in this territory so much. I mean, yes, we're moving to the upside, but we're also really close to the bottom. So unless we have a big break to the downside, of course, it makes sense that we would have a little bit of dry powder on the side. The one thing I do want to caution you is that breaking through this means that we could come back down and test this strong level of support, which is wonderful. However, if we go back on the daily chart to 2018, and also going back even farther, back to 2014 and 15, which we'll do in a second, there were instances. Let's see if we can get the 12-hourly chart back up, going back into 2018. We can. There were instances, for example, here in 2018, where Bitcoin had a downtrend. For example, right here, I remember analyzing this live. Like, I remember doing this analysis with you guys, and we saw a break to the upside, a pretty strong break to the upside right here. A lot of volume came in. It was a short squeeze. Bitcoin moved on this day, on this 12-hour candlestick, the 14th of October. It moved 10% in 12 hours. It moved $631, which doesn't sound like that much, but that's basically the same size movement that we saw right here. And then the market immediately came back down, traded sideways, and then we ended up breaking to the downside a massive way because there was enough enthusiasm left in the space to have one quick movement, but there wasn't enough to sustain it. It's almost like we were trying to launch a rocket and all we had or we were trying to launch a jet and all we had were the afterburners, and then it got in the sky and somebody forgot to load the fuel tank and it crashed. That's kind of what we saw happen right here. And I just want to caution you that that is still possible today. Obviously, don't get me wrong. Look, let me be clear on something. I'm a YouTuber. I already have a lot of investments in cryptocurrency. It is in my best interest for the cryptocurrency market to go up because my portfolio goes up, the viewership on this channel probably goes up, the interest in the cryptocurrency space probably goes up. Everything that impacts me personally does better if the market goes up. I would love to just tell you, market's going to go up. But that's not my prerogative. My prerogative is not to tell you what you want to hear. My prerogative is to tell you what you need to hear. And oftentimes, if what I'm telling you is unpopular, that's probably because it's what you need to hear. Because oftentimes, the thing that you need to hear is not the thing that's popular. So, long story short, I'm excited that Bitcoin is moving to the upside, and we're going to do some more analysis on what the future of that may look like. But take it with a grain of salt. This movement is not even 24 hours old yet. It's not even a day old. Not even a day old. If Bitcoin's breaking above 22, 23, 24, then yeah, we can start talking bull market territory. We're not there yet, guys. Because, frankly, Bitcoin has done this plenty of times. I mean, look, Bitcoin did this back over here. We saw Bitcoin rally. I mean, this is a month and a half ago, guys. We watched Bitcoin rally $1,600 in the span of one day, and then it kept going for a while here. Kept going. Rallied another $2,000 in the next week. Bitcoin rallied $4,000 in 5 days. And it didn't end up doing anything. You know what happened? It crashed. It crashed hard. In a day, it lost $2,500. In a week and a half, it lost $4,500. That is possible that what we're seeing is just another one of the movements like that. And also keep in mind, Bitcoin didn't actually technically break its downtrend right now on the on every chart. On the log chart, it had already broken it here and then fell right back through it, and it had broken here and fell right back down to it, and then we were trading sideways, and we'd actually already broken the downtrending level of resistance that we've just found ourselves under, that we are seeming to want to have broken. So just as I said, main point, take this with a grain of salt. If you were a trader, I'm not saying short right now, because there is a lot of momentum on the hourly chart. There's a lot of momentum on the 4 and 12 hourly chart, and you don't want to bet against the momentum because the momentum's up. I'm not betting against it with a trade. I'm just telling you to be cautious. But if you want to go into a long position, just remember the overall narrative, and this is why I've been telling you that this is a no trade zone. I'm speaking from wisdom here, guys. I've been doing this for 5 years. Whenever you see the market down here in this territory, if it goes to the downside, the people that would be shorting are skeptical to do that because they think it may have already bottomed out, and the people that want a long are skeptical to go into a trade to the upside because they're skeptical that the movement can actually be sustained because the volatility is so low. And that's where we are right now. The volatility is so low that I think you're going to have a hard time finding a lot of people wanting to go into a long position here until you see breaks above $25,000, which is this local high over here, or at least 22.5. And then if you don't have enough people wanting to go into long position because they're waiting on confirmation, then how do you ever get there to get the confirmation in the first place? So it's really a matter of this market and this movement trying to get lift off. If it's able to get lift off, if it's able to get in the air, and by in the air I say over 25K, then hey, look, maybe a bull market's on the horizon. But you know what else is on the horizon? And again, not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but I do need to be a realist. You know what else is on the horizon? 1 week from today, the Federal Reserve is going to come out with data of 75 basis point rate hike. Now, we don't know that, but it's almost certain at this point it's going to be 75 basis points. And when that happens, that's going to put a real damper on things. And then I think it's November 10th, the CPI data comes out. And if that comes back anything above 8%, people are probably not going to be very excited about that number either. You would likely see the S&P drop. You'd likely see the Dixie get stronger, and you'd likely see people have a hard time in that front. And by the way, this is not just a movement in crypto either. The S&P 500 is also up 11% in the last 13 days. So make no mistake, this is not just crypto bouncing. This is also heavily correlated with the S&P 500, and that's the thing that you really need to keep in mind. Now, one of the things I do want to show you has to do with this part of one of our technical indicators called Market Oracle, which is a part of Chart Prime. If you guys aren't familiar with Chart Prime, it's a wonderful indicator package. It's got some new indicators that I really like, and this is one of these. This basically tells us, I'm seeing if I can make it a little bit bigger. I don't know if I can, but essentially this dashboard, oh, I can, right there, large. All right, let's go ahead and change that dashboard size. Let's see if that'll update. This dashboard, Chart Prime gives us down here, is really cool because it gives us correlations. It gives us Dixie, Bitcoin, and altcoins, S&P 500, NASDAQ, and DJI correlations here. You can see that we have a strong negative correlation right now to the Dixie because the Dixie is, I guess the Dixie, according to this, is actually going down right now. Let's go ahead and look at the Dixie. I haven't looked at it this morning. But yeah, the Dixie's plummeting. That actually would explain part of where this rally on Bitcoin is coming from. I actually hadn't even realized that, but keep that in mind. The Dixie broke bearish out of this symmetrical triangle pattern on the 12-hourly chart over here. And by the way, I didn't draw this pattern. Chart Prime drew this pattern. So if you're wondering, hey, Jebb, when did you do this technical analysis and draw all these lines? You can see right over here, I have let me just go ahead and remove the drawings. You can see that I just removed drawings. See, there's 0 drawings on here. Every single one of these lines is from Chart Prime. This is just an incredible technical indicator as well. We got a lot of great technical indicators here. You can see the Dixie may even bounce off of this line right here that Chart Prime draws. We got a flat level of support. Again, this line right here, I can't move it because Chart Prime's drawing it algorithmically. We've also got the symmetrical triangle pattern that it automatically drew. You can find all of this stuff with a link in the description box down below to chartprime.com/CNC, I think it is. Make sure to check the link down below. But the reason I brought it up actually is this window down here shows to Dixie. Well, obviously, Dixie to Dixie is a very strong positive correlation, but you can also see how the Dixie is correlated with things like S&P 500, NASDAQ, DJI. But again, going back to Bitcoin, you can see we have a strong negative correlation with the Dixie, which is normally what's going to happen. Bitcoin's normally going to move in the opposite direction of the Dixie. And then we also have positive correlation with the stock market, which is what's normally going to happen. It's not very surprising that Bitcoin is a negative correlation to Dixie and a strong correlation to the S&P 500, with the Dixie going down and with the stock market going up, and with all the liquidations, And with Canada coming back with that news that's helping pump the price even literally right now. I think some of the movement over the last 2 hours is coming from that news that Canada raised interest rates by only 50 basis points rather than as many as they could have. I think a lot of that is leading to this rally on Bitcoin. So again, let me just put the downer stuff here out the gate. There's a lot of longer-term, major, fundamental forces that, in theory, should be holding the Bitcoin market down. However, on the shorter term, Dixie's dropping, S&P 500 is going up. Canada just gave us bullish news coming out about its interest rates. So it kind of makes sense that we would break bullish here and that Bitcoin would have a bounce. And Chart Prime is helping us to see that. And Lux Alko called the movement just perfectly. So make sure to check them both out. Links down below. We have, let's see, 1,000 people watching. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure to smash that like button. If it's your first time here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We bring you coffee and crypto daily, and I cannot wait to bring you more shows because I just love talking to you guys. I really enjoy doing the streams, one of the highlights of my day. I'm excited for tomorrow as well. By the way, as I told you this morning, I am interviewing Kevin O'Leary a week from today. That interview should be coming out in the next 2 weeks or so, and on top of that, Greg, who is our sales manager, just bumped into Kathy Wood at a restaurant last night, and so now we have that contact, and we're hoping to get an interview with her, and she even said potentially one of the members of her team would be jumping on as well. So nothing's confirmed. That interview is not confirmed yet, but we are hoping to get a collaboration of some kind with none other than the founder of ARK Invest. And if you don't know what ARK Invest is, let's just see what their assets under management are right now. They've got $14 billion under management. Kathy Wood's worth $250 million herself. They like to work in disruptive and distributed digital technologies like cryptocurrency, and that's what we like to hear. We like to see that. All right, we're going to go ahead and read some chat. Really appreciate all of you tuning in. Looks like there was a super chat for $4.99, but I don't see the super chat. So I'm really sorry. Can you, whoever super chatted, drop your chat again? We'll read chat here for about 5 minutes, and then we will jump into the rest of the show. While I am waiting on some more chats to come in, any questions you guys have, I do want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, none other than Anthony Price. Anthony Price is our cryptocurrency CPA. As you guys know, Bitcoin has just moved to the upside a lot, and if you just made a lot of money in that, well, the IRS, unfortunately, is coming for it, and they have just hired a ton more people to crack down on people that are not paying their taxes correctly and people that are making mistakes, and they really just want to make sure that you pay your money, and it's unfortunate that that's the way that it is, but that is the way that it is. But Anthony Price, being our cryptocurrency CPA with a ton of experience in cryptocurrency, helping all kinds of clients save money legally in the cryptocurrency space, well, he can help you. Because remember, guys, there are two different major things that you can run into in cryptocurrency. Either one, you can overpay on taxes, which if you're doing your taxes yourself is probably what you're ending up doing. You're probably overpaying on taxes by a lot. Or, on the other hand, you can make the opposite mistake, which is that you don't report something and you end up not paying the taxes you were supposed to legally and there was no way to get out of legally, and then the IRS wants to audit you in 5 years and they find that out, and, well, you're up a creek. Best case scenario, you got to pay it back. Worst case scenario, something else. Best thing you can do is hire a professional who can help you pay the least in taxes possible. And by the way, vast majority of times when you end up using a CPA like Anthony Price to do your taxes and help you, especially if you have any kind of portfolio in crypto that's worth a good bit of money, you end up saving way more money on taxes than you ever paid the CPA. So if you want to look out like that, using Anthony Price is an investment just like the rest of cryptocurrency, not only to save you money, but also to save you something far more valuable, time, because I'm sure you, just like me, would rather be spending time with my family rather than trying to figure out a bunch of stupid taxes. So make sure to check him out. Link is in the description box down below. Thank you to Anthony Price. Okay, Wesley Barentine just donated again. Thank you. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to trick you into donating again. I just needed you to type it. But either way, let's go ahead and read it. Thank you for that extra donation. My super chat was, when and why did you switch your position on XRP? You used to be very against it, and lately seems like you're very ambivalent to it. Ambivalent's a good word for it. Look, the thing is, Ripple, the company, has a very valuable product in that they're trying to help small, and I'm not an expert in Ripple. I'm not an investor in Ripple. I'm not an investor in XRP. So I'm not, one of the reasons I don't talk about it a lot is because I'm not invested in it. So what do I care? You know, I'm interested in the SEC case because that gives precedent for the rest of the cryptocurrency space. But ultimately, it's not really my race. It's not my horse. I'm not betting on it. But Ripple, the company, has a very valuable business insofar as helping smaller banks that don't have the infrastructure to compete with the JP Morgan or some of these bigger institutions. However, the cryptocurrency XRP, while it does have a lot going for it, I really just think that there are other cryptocurrencies that I think, do a better job than it. Now, I'm not an expert in XRP. I have studied XRP in the past. I'm not up to speed on it right now. I have not been following its development. I am much more interested in Ethereum and in Cardano. I have my concerns about XRP and centralization and some of the ways that the tokens were originally distributed, but I definitely would very much like to see the case get resolved in favor of Ripple because, frankly, I think the SEC is on a witch hunt trying to establish more power for themselves than I think they need or deserve. So, yeah, that would be my take on that. Not hating on XRP, I'm not an investor in it either. Market Zero just gave us a wonderful testimony. Bjorn Har Canal, responding to him. I saw the ETH pump yesterday and made money because of Lux Alko. Boom. Lux Alko is incredible. You need to be using it. The link for it is in the description box down below. Make sure you check out Lux Alko. Use coupon code Jebb, Jebb, for 20% off at checkout. Really appreciate all of you guys who have signed up for that. It's a great crypto. Excuse me. We do not promote cryptocurrencies on this channel. Let me just make that very clear. It is a great indicator. We'll promote indicators if they're good indicators, but we don't promote coins. That's just not something we do. Hey Jebb, how about you pick a coin that you're very interested in and we don't talk about that much? I don't know. We could do that. The thing is, a lot of the cryptocurrencies I like, guys, are very. By the way, thank you, George K, for the donation. And you said, "Hey Jebb, have you checked CBBI lately? Really low. Interesting. Yeah, let's bring up CBBI. Let's bring up not CBBI. Oh, sounds like a song my son would listen to. CBBI. My son Malachi is just absolutely awesome. And I was about to say, I was trying to say awesome and fun at the same time, and it almost sounded like I was going to say awful. That's horrible. I love you, Malachi. If you're watching this in 15 years and you're like, Jebb, what did you say? Well, I guess he'd say, Dad, what did you say? I have a 2-year-old son, for any of you guys who don't know. Anyway, CBBI, we've talked about it before. Wonderful index of different cryptocurrency indicators. We can take a look at it for just a second. Confidence, we're at the peak. 8. As of October 6th, 2022. Colin Talks Crypto, Bitcoin Bull Run Index, CBBI. You can see this is an amalgamation of the Pi Cycle Top Indicator, Rupal/Nupal chart, Rodel ratio, PUL multiple, 2-year moving average, Bitcoin trend line, MVRVZ score, reserve risk, and Wooble top cap versus CVDD. As you can CVDD down here, CBBI is currently sitting at 8. In fact, yesterday it was sitting at 7. And essentially, CBBI has been programmed in such a way where whenever Bitcoin bottomed out in the past, CBBI dropped down to 1 or 2. And whenever it hit the all-time high, CBBI hit 100. Make no mistake, CBBI was not created in 2012 and predicted these perfectly with 100% hitting at the top. CBBI was created, I believe, right here around the last halving. So it was programmed to conform itself to these previous data points, like the 2 all-time highs and the 2 bear market lows. But it has done a very good job of predicting with quite a lot of confidence the all-time high for Bitcoin. We got all the way up to 82 here on CBBI confidence back here in February of last year, and we're also sitting down here at 6 right now. So we got pretty close to 100 up here, sitting at 84, 85, and then we're pretty close to 0 right down here, indicating that we should be very, very close. The one thing I will remind you guys of is that for Bitcoin to go into a bull market, it doesn't need CBBI to be at 0, but CBBI being close to 0 does indicate that we are close to the bottom, if not in price action, in time. And you can also see most of these technical indicators that it is using in the index are actually basically at 0. And it's really cool. You can even go in here and turn some of these on and off, and you can set up CBBI in whatever way you want so that you're only using some or some of the technical indicators here, some of the on-chain indicators here, or others. Really cool. Definitely excited about CBBI and the fact that it's so low. Wesley Barentine donated again. Said Ripple and Circle are the bane of the true crypto enthusiasts. That's a strong way of putting it for sure. Hi, LT said, Hi, Jebb, love Lux Alko. Your coupon code is not working for lifetime membership of Lux Alko. Really? I'll have to reach out to Sean on that. I actually know the CEO. I'm good friends with the CEO, actually, of Lux Alko. I will check on why that's not working. Do apologize for that. I remember those days. Still some roofing work. Let's see, what else do we have in here? What do you feel about the play-to-earn industry? I think that gaming is one of the big ways you're going to get the retail in crypto, because the vast majority of people just frankly do not have enough interest in finance. Now it's growing. You got all these big channels like, Dave Ramsey, Graham Stephan, all these different people that are out there promoting things that are not called financial sovereignty, but essentially they're promoting financial sovereignty. And it's a pretty big movement at this point. But the gaming industry, way better, way bigger on the retail front. Now, of course, the gaming industry is nowhere near the size of the financial services industry, but as far as the number of people, there's vastly more people that are deeply interested in playing video games than in trading crypto. And crypto is a pretty big industry, so that tells you something. I mean, there's millions, hundreds of millions of people that want to play video games, and if they can make money doing it, that's going to get them in crypto in a big, big way. New bull market or something else. More of a, why did we just see $750 million worth of shorts get liquidated on FTX? Don't have an answer for you on that, but I do have the question. And if any of you guys have any insight on that, because I tried to find anything on it, couldn't really find any opinions on it, any insight on that, but I am a little bit curious why we saw $1 billion of shorts getting liquidated and $750 million of them were on FTX. That is concerning to me. Nevertheless, guys, there is also another article here that I want to show you that may involve why FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried ended up with the report that we saw not too long ago, where Bitcoin was being given some propositions for self-regulation of the industry. Voters want to see more crypto regulation, industry poll finds. A majority of voters want to see more regulation on cryptocurrencies, new industry-sponsored poll found. The national survey of 1,200 likely voters was commissioned by the Crypto Council of Innovation, an industry group backed by companies including Coinbase, Paradigm, Fidelity Digital Assets, and Block. The survey suggests pro-crypto policies could help sway key demographics of voters. That's really interesting. Let's just pause there for a second and break that down. So you mean to tell me, let me just get this straight. There's a midterm coming up, and the midterm is coming up very soon. Let's just make sure I have the right date before I put my foot in my mouth here. November 8th, yep, just like normal. We have midterms coming up in a week and a half, 2 weeks, and you're telling me that crypto is potentially, anyway, a swing issue for voters, where you got people on both sides of the aisle that want something, and it could end up being a swing point. Now, you got swing states in presidential elections, but you also have swing issues that people are, that people are willing to vote on or not vote on. There's a lot of people right now that are very interested in the cryptocurrency space, and they'd like to see that pro-cryptocurrency policy. And this is something that's good. We want to see policy around cryptocurrency. This is something that... let's see, his name's on the tip of my tongue. Thomas Lee of Fundstrat has been talking about on CNBC and Squawk Box and mainstream media for a very long time. By a very long time, I'm talking about the better part of a decade. We need to see regulatory clarity. Not so much regulatory freedom, although that'd be nice for us to be able to run the industry the way that we know best. However, what we really need is clarity. We need to know, how are you going to regulate this IRS? How are you going to regulate this SEC? How are you going to regulate this CFTC? How are you going to regulate this United States federal government? How are you going to police this United States executive branch? What is this going to look like? We've got hundreds of billions of dollars of capital sitting on the sideline that doesn't want to jump in because God only knows how it's going to be regulated. Nobody understands how the industry is actually going to be regulated. So if we're not having clarity on how the industry is going to be regulated, then why would a $200 billion fund want to get into cryptocurrency if they don't know whether the $3 billion that they're going to put in is going to be under scrutiny by the IRS, that they're going to get in hot water with the regulatory governing bodies that they are rubbing shoulders with? That's a concern for a lot of people, and the voters realize that. The people in crypto realize that. There's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines, a lot of financial innovation that could be happening in this country, in the United States, or at least in the first world, rather than over in China or Russia or somewhere, where it could be happening here in our countries, and we could be having all of this technological development happening on our shore, so that we're the ones that are able to benefit from it. But because we don't want to give regulatory guidelines and frameworks, it's a bit of a mess. People don't really know how to do business here. And so that's the concern. You can see moving on here, a majority of voters want to see more regulation of cryptocurrencies. A new industry-sponsored poll found, though they're split on which party should enact such changes. According to the national survey commissioned by the Crypto Council for Innovation, this, by the way, this indicates that this is a bipartisan issue for people because they're split on which party should enact changes, because people are almost always going to say that their party should enact changes. So if they're split on which party should do it, it's probably because this is a bipartisan poll that's going on here. According, or at least, let me just pull up the camera so I can do the scare quotes. Bipartisan, anyway. No, I'm not too big of a fan of polls. If anybody wants to know why polls are not very effective, I would encourage you to go back to 2016 and do your history research. Anyway, according to the national survey commissioned by the Crypto Council for Innovation, an industry group backed by companies including Coinbase, Paradigm, Fidelity Digital Assets, and Block, 52% of respondents said. Make sure I don't miss that. 52% of respondents said they wanted more regulation in the space. Only 7% say they'd want to see less regulation. A bipartisan polling team surveyed the 1,200 likely voters online from October 8th through 10th, according to CCI. The findings suggest voters would support new action to create guardrails around cryptocurrency, which, like many new technologies, has experienced growing pains navigating dated systems while trying to introduce a new playbook. The survey found that crypto issues may resonate in particular with key demographics like young voters and Black and Latino voters. 30% of Black voters who responded to the poll said they would be more likely to support a pro-crypto candidate, and 38% of Latino voters said they would support such a candidate. Interesting, because those are the demographics that, and by the way, I just want to clarify, this is really sad that this is the way this works in our country, but those are the demographics that both parties are trying to pull and get on their side. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm just saying that both parties are very interested in making sure that those demographics vote for them, and so, yeah. Anyway, I think you get my point. Don't need to wade too deep into politics there. Anyway, Cabrera, there's one R, so it's Cabrera, said, "Morning, Jebb. I've been watching since you're back. I tried, but could not get used to the others. Crypto is not the same without you. God bless you. Thank you. Really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much." Opus number 1 said, "Hey, Jebb, thank you for all you do. My question is, what are your thoughts on Hex and new Pulse Exchange? I'm just curious, as I respect your opinion. I am not an investor in Hex, nor am I the most familiar with it. God brought Jebb home to us. I am excited to be back." Black voter president, Queen said. So shout out to Queen. Let's see. Market Zero said, "Jebb, yesterday I woke up with the idea that decentralization is socialism because it's the people in charge of the means of production, etc. Tell me why I'm wrong." Okay, well, we're going to jump into some ideological warfare here. I'm just kidding. Let's see. Cryptocurrency and decentralization is socialism. Okay, where should we start on that one? People being in charge of the means of production is decentralization, it's socialism. I think you really have to go back to understanding what socialism is. I don't really think socialism really is the same thing as decentralization in a lot of ways. Socialism has a lot more to do with the way that the society is constructed, and decentralization has a lot more to do with who is in charge of the asset. Ultimately, one of the main reasons, not one of the main reasons, there's a lot of reasons. Believe me, there's a lot of reasons why socialism and communism don't work. But one of them is that those systems tend to take individual ownership away from the individual, and they put it in the hands of the collective. But the thing is, it's not actually in the hands of the collective. It's in a governing body that claims to represent the collective. However, in cryptocurrency, what you have is that you don't have a governing body that is representing the collective. What you actually have is a cryptocurrency where the code, the thing that is, if you want to say centralized, the governing body, if you will, is not human. It's a non-trusted governance, if you will. It's code. In Bitcoin, I'm talking about particularly. That's not the same thing in socialism. In socialism, there's a government, and people interact with that government, and people have biases, and people have different things that different agendas. That's not the same thing in cryptocurrency. In cryptocurrency, it is, in fact, one of the most individualistic movements in the history of the world, in my opinion, and it is probably literally the single greatest way for an individual to retain their wealth rather than that wealth going to the collective in the name of the betterment of society, in the name of making sure everyone has their fair share, and then people that earned their money are not able to hold on to it. So had to kind of think about that to really break that down, but that would be my main point there, is that there is always going to be some kind of central governing body or rule book or authority, and cryptocurrency, at least real cryptocurrencies, and there's some things that you can amend this, some ways you can amend this, but in general, normally it's in hard code, and that hard code is very difficult to change without actually the majority. Like, I mean, in Bitcoin, you got to get 80-90% of miners to agree. Interesting thought. Xenodermis, love that name, said, "Hey Jebb, you were a good part of the last bull run, which makes me think of you as a catalyst for crypto. I'm super happy you're back. What happened to the other guys whom took over your channel?" So they didn't take over the channel per se. They were left to run the channel as I took a season to step back. When I came back, there was a disagreement, and so they have decided to move on. Let's see. Classic IT guy in chat. Really appreciate that. Axel3XA says, socialism is the most centralized system we had, learned from history. Yeah, I think the reason that that's kind of tricky on the surface there, because it's a really interesting point you brought up, Market Zero. I don't agree with you, but it's interesting what you brought up, is that socialism and communism in the idea of them are supposed to represent the individual. They're supposed to be, in theory, individualistic systems. They're obviously not, and it even shows through in the name. Communism comes from the idea of commu, which is where we get things like communal, community, communities. It is a collectivist idea. You don't end up getting individualistic thought processes and teachings coming from a socialistic or a communist ecosystem. And you also don't see the rapid innovation in a communist world that you see in a free market, democratic, decentralized cryptocurrency world, like what we see in crypto. You would never have what's going on in crypto right now happen in the Soviet Union. Would not happen, guaranteed. Wouldn't happen. CryptoMan976 said, I just confirmed with Lux Alko in the lifetime exclusive channel that the 20% discount does not apply to the lifetime membership. Okay, I need to check. It may be that the 20% doesn't actually apply to lifetime, but I will check on that. And then if you guys ask again tomorrow, I should have an answer for you. I will shoot an email to the CEO himself. A text, I'm sorry. That's one of the cool things in cryptocurrency. Somebody had a question on office hours yesterday about Hedge. In fact, I'm not, I think it was Shoba. I don't know if Shoba's in this chat, but Shoba asked whether Hedge, gethedge.io, by the way, free shout out, check them out down below. If they had any plans moving to Canada, and I didn't know. I don't know every single detail of the expansion plans of all of our partners. But so I texted David Schwartz, the founder of Lux Alko, sorry, not Lux Alko, of Hedge, and he's one of the co-founders, actually. He's the CEO, and I was able to get the answer from him right there. So that's just, I feel very blessed to be in the position I'm in, because if somebody has a question about a product, there's a half decent chance that I can just text the founder. So, not bragging or anything. I'm not trying to be one of those people that's like, hey, look at my Rolodex. I'm just saying that it's a blessing. I'm thanking the Lord for that blessing is what I'm trying to say. What do you mean it can't happen in the Soviet Union? We have a Moscow CBDC. Yeah, and what's that worth? I know what Bitcoin's worth. It's worth $400 billion. Good luck building that in the Soviet Union. Now somebody, well, actually, I take that back. Somebody in the Soviet Union could have built Bitcoin. I'm saying that the Soviet Union would never have built this industry. Because Bitcoin, as far as we know, was built by one guy. One guy with a computer could have made Bitcoin in the Soviet Union to overthrow the Soviet Union. But the Soviet Union themselves never would have created something like Bitcoin, because it would have taken power out of their hands, which they didn't have a lot of to begin with. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go look at the military spending during the Cold War and the GDP, where you have two nations that are roughly the same size in land area. One of them spending 3% on GDP during the Cold War. One of them spending 3% GDP on military during the Cold War. The other one spending 25 to 30%, and they're still broke because they don't have the success that comes from a free market, democratic, entrepreneurial, capitalistic society. You might be able to tell that I'm a capitalist. All right, well, we're just going to talk to chat here for the next little bit. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Very, very excited about that. We need Hedge in Canada. Yeah, let me just tell you guys as far as Hedge with the Canada situation. I can read here. Be careful. Let me see. David Schwartz said this. He said, we are exploring the ways and how to get into Canada, but don't have a timeline at the moment, but it is on our roadmap. So Hedge wants, to get into Canada, but they haven't just yet. Yeah, by the way, what about Kanye West losing his billionaire status because he thought he could play with Adidas, and Adidas said, you might be 5% of our revenue and sales, but no. And they dropped him. That's oof. Be careful about calling people on that stuff, because you might be calling somebody and people think they're playing poker, but you call somebody and sometimes they're not bluffing. And it looks like Adidas was not bluffing. Not going to wade into that whole thing, but yeah. All right, is Hedge coming to Canada? Just answered that. Shane Hansen said, I also realize that all of the toil and all of the skillful work that is done, it is envy between one man and another. That is also vanity and chasing the wind. It is hevel, is what it's called in Ecclesiastes, which is what I think you're referencing. It's called hevel, which is a Hebrew word meaning smoke. Everything in this world is smoke. Its meaning is uncertain. It's unknown. We don't really know why we're doing what we're doing. And if we ever think we understand the purpose of why we're doing what we're doing, it changes in an instant, and then we're confused again. Ultimately, the only thing that we can ever be certain of as far as purpose is serving our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And so we're very thankful for the ability to know, hey, I'm not going to know what's going to happen tomorrow, quite frankly. Maybe the sun wouldn't rise tomorrow. Maybe the moon doesn't rise. God only knows what could happen in this world. But the only thing that will never change, ever, is the nature of God. And He loves you, and He wants you to be saved, and He wants you to believe in Him. The people in power just don't like it when you call them out. No, they don't. They really don't. Who wears Adidas anyway? Shannon Sharp said, I love Adidas. You got to go on Reddit, and there's a Reddit somewhere where it's like funny knockoffs, and there's like so many knockoffs of Adidas, like Adidas or a dad does, or like, all these different things. All right, guys, we got another couple of minutes here. I only wore Addies for the ye. Ecclesiastes is the most read book of the Bible. What? No way. Where are you getting that statistic from? It's a great book, and everybody should read it. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be read. I've read it probably a half dozen times myself, but I would think the book of John or Mark or Matthew or one of the Gospels would have been the most read. I love shoes, not Adidas. Not just Adidas, rather. The best way to get into Canada is through Alberta, regulatory reasons. Please pass that forward, Jebb. Not sure what Hedge is, but Alberta. I know how to say Alberta. Alberta is the best place with good oversight. I read it the most. Oh, you read it the most. I see. Oh, it's your most read book of the Bible. I see. Okay. Yeah. I see. Ecclesiastes is a great book. Just don't forget to read Proverbs and Psalms also. Or, I'm sorry, Proverbs as well, because it'll brighten your day up a little bit, because Ecclesiastes can be pretty sad. Guys, if you're enjoying today's stream, make sure to smash that like button. We're going to have to go here in a couple of minutes. Leviticus is pretty well read. Yeah, Leviticus is a great book. All 66 are. I like Titus. If you guys didn't know, I actually memorized the book of Titus over the last couple of months in the ESV translation. Paul, a servant of God and apostle of Jesus Christ, for the sake of the faith of God's elect and the knowledge of the truth which accords with godliness and hope of eternal life, which God... I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but... to the pure, all things are pure, but to the defiled and unbelieving, nothing is pure. They profess no God, but they deny Him by their works. They are detestable, disobedient, and unfit for any good work. A lot of great things in the book of Titus. Overseers must be above reproach. They must not be, Anyway, that in Proverbs helps with life. Absolutely. What we like to do, because Sarah and I read a half an hour of the Bible every night before bed, we like to go to the proverb of the day. John is the book, 3:16. Yep, for God so loved the world, He sent His only begotten Son, that all who should believe should not perish and have everlasting life. Someone got booted for talking crap about the team. Man knows his book. I love the Bible. I love the Bible. Romans 6:23. For the wages of sin is death, but the free gift of God is eternal life in Christ Jesus our Lord. Romans 8:1. For For there is no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus, who walk not according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. Incredible. Love bringing Christ into crypto. Hey, guys, you guys believe what you want. I believe the truth, and that is that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, and believing in him can save you. Will save you, not can, will. Psalms is dope. Psalm is dope. Psalm 23 is wonderful. That's another one I memorized. This is one that even if you're not a Christian is really helpful for you. Psalm 23:4. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I'll dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Why do you like the ESV? I'm actually in the process of transitioning to King James. ESV is pretty solid. I don't necessarily always agree with the Greek that it's using in UBS. UBS 5th edition and Allen 28, I think they're on right now. So I don't necessarily agree with all of the Greek that they have going there. I think the Textus Receptus has some better Greek, but nevertheless, that's a story for another time. Hopefully, I would love to talk with you guys more about it. But guys, I do have to go. We got a lot of work to do. In fact, we're working on doing some set work, and we're about to do that. So if you enjoyed today's stream, make sure to smash that like button. And by the way, do not forget, we have another sponsor that we haven't talked about here in a little bit, and they are none other than iTrust Capital. If you're not familiar with iTrust Capital, they are a IRA cryptocurrency account where you can get set up with your IRA in cryptocurrency, and I would love for you guys to check them out. If you sign up with the link down below, you will get a $100 funding reward, and you will be helping to support this channel while being able to invest your IRA in cryptocurrency so that you can defer those taxes and make sure you're keeping as much of those taxes in your own portfolio as possible. Guys, if you enjoyed today's show, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure to follow us on all of our social media, and make sure to hit that post notification bell so you don't miss a single stream. Look out, 4 p.m. today, we got an interview with David Schwartz coming out, and his co-founder of Hedge, Paul. We're going to be talking to them about why dollar cost averaging is the single best way to build wealth in the cryptocurrency space. Before I go, though, guys, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Is he going to say it? Is he going to say it? Oh, he's going to say it. Peace.